Sup YouTube, welcome back to another video documenting my journey to legend. I've never hit legend before and I'm hoping to do so for the first time this season. If that's something you think you'd be interested in, definitely consider subscribing to the channel. As you can see from our ELO, we are currently headed in the opposite direction, but I'm working on it. Before I get into the battles, I want to give a huge shout out to a man who needs no introduction, the man who would give Bane a run for his money, Jamie Finn, king of shadow Pokemon. He was in my comment section the other day wishing me luck on my journey to legend. Thank you so much for the support, man. It really means a lot, especially coming from someone who is incredibly talented in GBL. So here's to you, man. Without further delay, let's get into the battles. And so on today's team, we are rocking Metagross, Double Dragon, or one Pseudo Dragon. Pretty standard team. I ended up not trying out what I wanted to in that what I said I would in that last video because it didn't end up working out. This team gave me some success. I know my ELO doesn't really show that, but we end off just barely around a little lower than 2,500. And there's a lot of misplays that I made on my part that I want to showcase in this team. So being on the other end of this matchup, I know that Dragonite into Snorlax is pretty dominant, especially if they want to start investing shields, which they did early on. I go straight for the superpower. At that point, I know it does about 50% damage, so I know it can KO from that range. They're going to bring back in the D-Knight. They launched the superpower on my Metagross. Every single Dragonite lead has done that. Here I make a mistake. I swap into Gyarados. This is why I wanted to showcase this battle. I should have stayed in, just let myself get farmed down. I was already debuffed and, you know, pretty much losing. I could have brought in Gary onto the Dragonite, but I don't know what I was expecting. I figured they didn't have the best response to a Metagross, and you know, it's not exactly a poor matchup for them, like Dragonite into Metagross. It gets kind of shady in the two shields, so I didn't really want to stay in and get farmed down. But in hindsight, look how close this gets because of my stupidity. So had I had a full health Gyarados, that would have been a lot better of a win. This one I showcased, I think by mistake. I thought I might have, I think when editing this, I thought it was a Haxorus lead. But anyway, we have a really favorable lead in the Florges. It's kind of funny that if Florges gets enough of an energy lead, I think it takes like 3 Moonblasts plus the Fairy Winds to take out a Metagross, which is insane. But, you know, fairies, right? So we're going to tank a couple of these moves. I think 2 or maybe just 1. I think they might swap out. And they bring in an Excadrill, and I'm pretty quick to the swap for my Gyarados. And I know I can comfortably tank 1 Rock Slide if that's comfortable. I'm going to launch this just before they get to, I believe, the back-to-back. They shield, and I think I'm gonna, yeah, I launched this immediately before they get off their next move, and I think I do shield this. Oh, I think the reason I showcased this was because as you're gonna see, I come in a little too prematurely. I'm expecting the swap, but they're slow to the swap, but then they do swap. Oh man, had they stayed in with the Excadrill there, they would have taken me out. So I think I was just like a fraction of a second too early to the swap, and they were gonna swap regardless, and so that's why I managed to beat that or win that. But had they stayed in a hair later, I would have lost that match. So me there jumping the gun. Here's the Haxorus lead. As you can see, we have a lot of lag in the beginning. My connection wasn't the best today, and that's partly to blame for my drop in ELO, but it's also just my my skill. I saw the return coming, but that was still pretty cool that it landed on me. I figure here I'm gonna bait because Magnezone is pretty squishy, and here I probably should have baited again just to get some solid damage with another Dragon Claw, because they would have had to throw energy, and now they can just farm me down. So not the best play, but I am 2 shields up. I don't want to come in with Gyarados, obviously. I am going to shield up a Wild Charge. And my opponent is just making all the plays. I double shield this, right? Haxorus is close to a move. So you do 1, then I come in with Gyarados. And now I can pretty safely, I either throw a move on it. I think I'm going to wait until they get me just a little bit lower, just before their next Night Slash or Dragon Claw. Oh wow, I actually do manage to farm it down, so that was actually pretty cool. And I think they come in with a Metagross, yeah. I do 1 then throw, so I can throw in between their Bullet Punch. And because I get that defense drop, I'm able to get this next crunch off and take them out. But I do think that another crunch might have KO'd them. I know Meteor Mash might have, I think Meteor Mash would have been enough at that range, but it is double resisted, and I was close enough to the Earthquake, so I went for the guarantee. This is one where I figure out what the fast move is first before swapping. Again, I have that lag in the beginning, which is costing me a lot. This does bait out the Togekiss or the Fairy, which is sort of what we're looking to do with this team. But Gyarados puts up an insane fight against Fairy types. In the zeros, I think it flips this. Or almost flips this, especially if Togekiss is trying to farm down. So they do have to invest a shield. I'm going to come back in with Metagross. I don't have the best matchup against Gyarados, so I decide to shield this because I figure it'll do a little more damage than a crunch. I think I do one. No, I don't. I just come in straight away. They have a Metagross in the back, and I forget if we win this. I let them get their move off just so I can sneak in a Dragon Breath. And then I'm going to throw in between... man, I think I threw on alignment, and it cost me there a little. Now I think I can go for... What am I doing? Am I saving shields? I don't think I wanted them to farm me down, but I don't know if this is such a smart play. I think what I'm thinking in the moment is with enough damage from these bullet punches, I might be able to get it into Meteor Mash range. Yeah, no. I wasn't anywhere close. I probably could have played that maybe a little bit better. I'm not sure what I could have done though. Snorlax lead is not the best. They come in with Waterfall Gary onto our Gary, so this is looking pretty okay. I might be able to flip this. They shield, and I think here I'm like, you know what? I'll take a shield advantage. Metagross up a shield or two. Might do me a fair bit better. They get the defense drop, but because they're running Waterfall, I'm able to outpace them to the crunch. They double shield, and I think, yeah, they just barely managed to farm me down. If my timing on throwing my moves was more appropriate here, I make a mistake by coming in with freaking Gyarados. I should have just came in with Metagross. And here I make another mistake, right? Like they have to superpower me in order to do any sizable amount of damage, but they bait me, and now they're at the back, or now they're at the superpower. So they can just superpower me. I'm way too low to do anything. And this Meteor Mash will KO, but had I called that first bait, it might have been a different story. I would have been able to build up to the back-to-back. Meteor Mash on a Shadow does about 50%. This is just a horrible lead. And not the worst safe swap, but the mistake I make here is not fighting for swap. I should have at least gone one shield down, right? Shielded up this Dragon Claw. I might have been able to outpace to the crunch. I get there anyway, right? But I should have shielded that Dragon Claw because this doesn't KO, and maybe then we could have gone 2 shields down, right? I come in with Dragonite expecting them to blind superpower, but they're smart. They wait, and I tank a whole bunch of damage that I shouldn't have had to tank. And at this point, it's looking like Dragonite would have been my win condition. So I come in, they build up to the 10. Like I figured they won't bait, so I shield up. And Swampert loves to bait. This is also a Shundo, which is kind of cool. The Swampert, not the Metagross. And now I feel like I need to shield because I'm not sure how much damage a Hydro does. Maybe I should have shielded that. Or not shielded that and left both shields for Dragonite and farmed down, or tried to farm as much as I could on the Swampert. I think that might have been a better play. Like, let that Hydro Cannon go. Get off a Meteor Mash at least, right? To guarantee their shield and possibly get to another Meteor Mash, and then I might have had enough play to get. Look at that, so close, 1 HP to take this game. But yeah, just a lot of misplays. I'm currently, I went 1-5 in the last set. I wasn't doing the best. Again, Master League is not my forte by any means. I'm not that much further than I was in the previous video, only because we did manage to climb a bit with this team before dropping again. So just a lot of back and forth, This team is strong, but I make a lot of misplays, especially in this last set. I wanted to show you the losses from this last set, but then my recorder kind of crapped out on me and it only recorded that last battle. But just a lot of unfortunate misplays that I could have came back from. But there was a lot of lag. I was missing some turns. I was also swapping the wrong Pokemon into a counter swap. So just not making the best plays. But I'm feeling a little more confident. I want to try this team again tomorrow as of recording this video, and we'll see how it does. Hopefully I can at least climb back up to near expert. But yeah, thank you guys so much for your support on the channel. I really appreciate it. It really means a lot, and I'll catch you in the next one. Peace.